Hey everyone, I'm Sarah with Premier Couture, and thanks for joining us tonight for Shop Talk with Sarah. Tonight we get to have a very special guest with us, who, if you have been in, you have seen her here on Saturdays mostly, but she is also an independent beauty consultant with Mary Kay and does bridal makeup, which is super awesome. So we're going to have her in to give us some tips and kind of talk about that a little bit, okay? So, Tobi, thank you for joining me.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Yes,
it's always great to be here. You know, it's a great partnership, and we've been working together a long time at Premier Couture and with my Mary Kay business. I think Laura and I served on the chamber board 100 years ago or something that, and it's just been really fun to be a part of the energy.
Yeah. It's awesome that it's been able to continue through the years, which we love. So how long have you been providing makeup services to brides, though?
Yeah, so I've been with Mary Kay for 22 years, and bridal makeup kind of started pretty quickly after I started my business, because what would happen is I would have a client and then she'd be getting married and she'd be like, well, who do I have do my makeup for my wedding? And I'm like, I guess that's me, because you don't want to trust your face. So I really spent some time to get really skilled and trained on bridal makeup. And so really for about 21 years, I've been serving brides on their wedding day and other times too.
Yeah, that totally makes sense, because it's kind of like when you get your hair styled a certain place and you don't want to trust your hair with other people. And it's totally the same thing with makeup, especially you trust it's your face. You trust the products, you know, you're the one who's going to do it and be awesome and give them the right advice through it all, because you know them as a person, which is super awesome.
Yeah.
So you do brides.
I do.
Do you also work with their bridal party as well?
Yeah, so sometimes it'll be just the bride, but most of the time it's the entire bridal party. And the way I like to work it, because, you know, sometimes you get to that makeup point and things have been expensive, maybe, you know, the venue and the cake and the flowers and all of that. And so when it comes down to the makeup, people want to have that done, but maybe a bridesmaid doesn't want to afford that. So I just do everybody's face that they want me to do. So it's kind of a cool thing the way I work it, even if the little mini wants to have a little lip gloss or the grandmas need a touch up. So it's really fun that way. But there are kind of two ways I work. I work wedding day, makeup day of, but I also do the consultation for people who want to learn the skills for always.
Yeah, that's awesome. So that's a little bit, but what does like the total bridal makeup experience look like from start to end there?
So it can be a lot of things. You know, I think the most important piece of bridal makeup is that a bride feels authentic that day. I think everybody wants to feel just like when they select their gown. It's a very self-expressive thing. And what could be more self-expressive than your face, right? And so it's very important to plan it. I always require a pre-consultation, because we've got to sit in a relaxed environment and talk over her style, her dreams. What words does she want to have him think of when he sees her coming down the aisle and looks at her face? You know, it has a lot to do with the style of the wedding, the style of her gown. Is she wearing a veil? Is she doing an updo? Like, all those things factor in. So we do the pre-consultation so we can design that look together, so that on the day of the wedding, it's just go time. There's no worry or wonder on her part as to, is this going to come out right, or am I going to get surprised? You know, that we don't ever want to have that. We want it, there's enough nerves on the day of the wedding. So we want it to be just designed ahead of time, planned out, and then I do a sheet that just lays it all out, and we do it for as many bridesmaids as can join us. We'll design their look too, and the moms, if someone's nervous, you know, maybe I have oftentimes a mom who maybe doesn't wear makeup, but yet she's hosting, you know, this event with her daughter and her future son-in-law, and she wants to look special, but she still wants to look like herself. And so there's a balance there.
I can definitely relate to not the mom part, obviously, yet, but being that person who doesn't wear makeup. Like, I never really have, but I have had the pleasure of you doing my makeup a few times, including for my sister's wedding. It was awesome, because it's like you don't feel like you have a face full of stuff. Like, you just feel like it brings out your natural beauty, and that's something I really appreciate about you, is that that's what you do. You just bring out people's natural beauty with it, which is amazing.
Well, thanks for saying that, because that's kind of the Tobi Bolt brand of bridal makeup, is helping women really feel authentic in their skincare and their makeup. And every bridal makeup artist has a different philosophy. You've got the ones that want to go way trendy and the ones that want to do, you know, the heavy airbrushing, and that's all good, but you've got to know what your style is to match up with the right makeup artist in order to have that really work out for your wedding day.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. So with that, knowing your style, at the same time, what does that look like in like having your makeup for your wedding day, like your bridal makeup versus everyday makeup?
Sure. So that's a really good question, because bridal makeup is a really tricky thing. And just after many years of experience, because you want to look great in person, you've got to look great in person. Like the most important person is your future husband.
Yes.
And he is like right there all day, right? So you can't look fake or cakey or overdone. Grooms hate that, right? That's
You're
like,
being someone you're
like
not.
my number one question is she'll say, I don't want my lipstick to come off on my groom, you know? So that's like so common. So you got to look great like right here, but then you also have to look fantastic for photos, because that's really why you invest in bridal makeup, is because of the pictures.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got that strange dichotomy. And then you add the fact that there are tears and there's sweat and there's hugging and you're in white.
Yes.
That's an
That's a big
additional
thing.
complication. So like it's all of these multifaceted things that makes it a really special but a super awesome like thing I love to solve.
Yeah.
So because there is definitely a balance of looking awesome in person and looking great in the pictures
Oh,
too.
yeah.
And that's something I feel like I've just kind of mastered over time.
Yeah.
So where sparkle goes, where contour goes, how you make things set, like
Yeah.
it's just this
Yeah.
alchemy that I love.
Yeah, because you don't want that full, like, I was in play, so I know you don't want that full stage makeup.
Right.
But yeah, like you said, you definitely want it in the pictures to look great still
Yep.
and not be super faded.
Yeah, because the photographer's flash will catch things that you don't think it's going to catch.
Yes, exactly. And speaking of photographers, we have some pictures as well that Tobi has shared with us of her doing makeup and a couple of her brides as well.
Yep.
So let's get those on the screen to go through so that you guys can kind of see what she does throughout the whole thing as well.
Yeah, and some of those pictures are of hands-on brides, but there's also the opportunity to do a bridal consultation that's more of a lesson. Some brides want to do their own makeup, and that's so great. But then who do you find to teach you those
Exactly.
skills?
Yep.
And I think it's really fantastic when a woman wants to take this step of her life, of her wedding, and kind of step into some new skills.
Yes.
And so being able to sit down and do that consultation and share with her, here's where it goes, here's why it goes there, and just give that lesson is a really, I love doing that with brides. And then she can do it the day of the wedding. Maybe it's a destination wedding and you know she's not going to have a makeup artist she trusts there, or maybe she has a sister that wants to do it for her. We can totally teach that. I love doing that too.
Yep, I love that. Yeah, because it's a skill. I cannot do much makeup on my own. So
Well, it's a learned skill, let me tell you.
learning it. And so I really appreciate that you do that teaching and not just,
Yeah.
here, done, here's your face, figure it out, you know.
So sadly,
'Cause
on
that's
my
not
own
fun.
wedding day, which was in the 90s, I wore like a little powder and some clear mascara and super bright pink lipstick, which breaks one of my rules, which is don't go with trend. So I wasn't able to do that for my own wedding, but I love providing that for brides.
It's like a learning experience, your own wedding. There
It
you
is.
go. Do you have any specific products that you use on like the big wedding day versus
Yeah,
or that you
so-
would recommend using?
That's a great question, because there are definitely some things that we do on the wedding day that are unique. Primers are key, and layering primers in at the right place in the makeup process. Eye primers, lip primers, finishing sprays, how to brush them on, how to get them so that how to have it be so that the makeup lasts all the way to the end of the dance. That's a really important thing. So, you know, unless you're an athlete or somebody who loses their makeup easily, you wouldn't normally do that kind of a priming level on the big day, or unless it was a big day like that. But those things we definitely bring to the wedding day to be able to try those. And we test them ahead of time to make sure that, you know, they are fine on the skin and all of that. The other thing that I love to do on the wedding day is lash enhancements, which is something that was kind of self-taught for me. They're very easy to do, and we use a really natural approach, just adding a couple of trios on the outer corner, and it's just something special for the bride that kind of elevates her look.
Yeah.
That's one of my guidelines, is that the bridal look sets the bar for everyone else's look in the bridal party.
Yep.
So the bride, it's her day, it's her moment, and her look should be the one. So if she wants a real natural look, then everybody else kind of backs off from there. If she wants to glam it up a little more, then we can go a little more on everybody else. But the lash enhancements are something else we kind of bring to the big day.
Yeah. Well, and what's awesome is that it's a thing, like the lash enhancement, they're a big thing and they make a look, but it's just like with accessorizing, with how you do the rest of the makeup is going to kind of affect so that it's not too much, which is super awesome.
It is, and it's really
Love
cool
that.
because at the pre-consultation so many times it'll be like, well, let's just try them and see how you like them, and then we get them on and one eye is done and the other is not, and she's like, oh yeah, this I totally want on my wedding day. Rarely not, but most of the time it's really a special thing.
That's awesome. It's the little things.
Yep, it is the
a lot
little
of things,
things.
Yeah. Do you have any key guidelines for brides when they're considering their wedding day makeup?
Well, you know, and like I said, every bridal makeup artist is going to have a different philosophy, but I have a couple of guidelines that I like to work with. Number one is that bridal makeup should be timeless. And I guess I learned that from my own wedding. You know, you can look at my wedding picture and you can tell what year it was. And timeless, we want her grandchildren to look at those pictures and be like, oh, she's so stunning. Not, well, that's clearly like this year. We want to keep it timeless. Also, the guideline of the bride sets the bar, and then we kind of take everybody else from there.
Yeah.
And that's important to communicate with the bridal party, because, you know, everyone has a personal style, but when you're in her pictures and they've invested thousands of dollars in those pictures, maybe the poppy lipstick that's on trend this season is something you could wear to rehearsal dinner and maybe set aside for the wedding day. So those are things that we want to pay attention to. And then the third thing is just really making sure that she feels comfortable. You know, that she's 100%, this is me, I feel great. And I always say at the pre-consultation, you know, this is, you can't hurt my feelings because it's art.
Yep.
So if something doesn't feel right or something is too light or too dark, like definitely tell me, because we want to talk through that. And so I always feel like there's a really good open communication about that. But those are some guidelines.
Yeah. And that last one, that's to me why the pre-consultation is so important then too, is so that once again it's part of that whole not having any surprises that day.
Right.
Is then you know that she's going to feel like herself and feel nice and natural that day,
Right.
which is super awesome.
Yeah, and you avoid doing kind of what I call a hit and run, which is maybe working with someone who you're not comfortable with, just on the fly. They could do something really trendy, which would break the timeless rule, you know, a big cat eye or something that was very trendy, and that could be damaging to your pictures.
Yeah. Keep in mind those pictures.
Yeah.
So do you have, I'm just curious, we all have our stories when we've worked with people, you know. We all have stories from working here, from whatever other jobs we have. Do you have any kind of like funny bridal makeup stories?
I do have a couple of funny stories. One time I was doing a large Italian wedding, and it was a wild bunch. They were definitely there for the party. And it was a large bridal party. So I'm working on the bridesmaids, and suddenly I can feel this mass of a person behind me, and it's this big groomsman, big guy, a big Italian guy, and he has this massive shiner that he got at the rehearsal dinner. And he's like, can you do anything for this? And so we sat down and we did some yellow concealer. We covered the whole thing up. He looked great. And the bridesmaids were just having a ball with him, you know, teasing him about his shiner. But we covered it up and we made that happen.
Not a common thing.
Yeah, it's not a common thing. And then there was the green bride. Back in the day, we used to have a green concealer that would cover up redness. And so she had a little rosacea, and so I put a little dab of that green down, and I said, just go ahead and tap some of that on. And I turned around to do something else, and I turned back, and she looked like Alphaba from Wicked. Oh, no. You know, just like green everywhere. So we had to fix that. But other than that, you know, things tend to run pretty smoothly.
Smooth.
Yeah, yeah.
I love that though. I love having those stories though. They're fun.
Yeah, gotta have stories.
So thank you for being on the show with us.
my
But
pleasure.
before we leave, I want people to know how they can get in touch with you. So what's the best way for them to
Sure.
talk to you?
So I am on Facebook as Tobi Bolt Mary Kay Consultant. I'm on Instagram at Tobi MK Artist. You can check me there. You can also search Mary Kay's website for me. But those are the main two ways to kind of get in touch. If you come to the shop, my stuff is in every single VIP bag that goes out of here, because I love that Premier Couture allows me to share a puff and an offer with every bride. So every bride here has the opportunity to have a free consultation and with lashes and just check it out. And then I have a special offer for those of you that are watching at home. This is our brand new Perfect Palette, and it holds powder, or it holds a look. And if you get in touch with me in the next week to have to schedule a bridal pre-consultation with lashes, you get this compact for free. And Sarah, this is yours. I'm giving this to you as a gift. So there you go.
You're welcome. It's really cool looking. I love how small it is.
It's very petite and extremely special.
Yeah, that's so cute. And Jason, can you just look how cute it is? Can you zoom in on that? Because you know what, this is cool.
It's a brand new part of our spring line, and it's kind of fun to see all the new things.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So did you get it? Okay. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And
Thank you
we
for having
will also link to your Facebook and Instagram down below. I just want to make sure, did anybody have any questions? No. Okay, perfect. If you have any questions, comment below. You know, we know Tobi. We can get in touch with her. So either she or we at Premier Couture will answer your questions. And yeah, super awesome. Book with her within the next week and get a really cool little compact.
Yeah.
So
Thanks for having me,
yes,
Sarah.
No, thank you. And thank you for watching. And we'll see you next week on Shop Talk with Sarah. Bye.